Hey YouTube, it's Dave, Drone News Guy from DroneReviewsAndNews.com. While you're here, before we do anything, make sure you subscribe and hit the notifications button because you're going to want to get the rest of our videos as they're coming out. So we are here to unbox the DJI Osmo Pocket. This fantastic little device has been rumored for a couple of weeks. You've seen the leaked photos. People thought a Phantom 5 was coming, but no, DJI is taking a special step into a new space for them. They want to really attract vloggers to their equipment, and this is really incredible for vloggers. If you're into that sharing and social experience, traveling, whatever it is, you're going to really like this device. So without further ado, we're going to jump in and get this unboxed. I don't want to mess around. I've got to get to New York. Now, when we take the sleeve off, we've got some literature that pops out, but on the back of this, we've got some really interesting things. First of all, it says, get it on Google Play, download on the Apple Store, DJI Mimo app. So Mimo is short for My Moments. We actually have it downloading a beta version here on our iPhone that they gave us before launch so we could play with this thing. But if we peel off the Mimo app sticker, you can actually see there's something printed on here. It says Mac works with iMovie and Final Cut Pro X. So this works with all phones up to iPhone X, and I'm willing to bet you within days it's going to work with the additional X extended versions. And it works all the way down to an iPhone 6, which is what we have here. So we're going to jump right into this right away. Literature, we have more information on our site, tutorials, things like that. And of course, you can purchase Osmo Shield for the Osmo Pocket. Opening up the clamshell, we have two very simple, awesome things in here. First thing is the carrying case. So we'll pop that open, and the first thing we have in here is a wrist strap. Now the wrist strap is not for the Osmo itself, it actually goes in the holes on the top of the carrying case so you can pass it around. I wish there was holes in the Osmo Pocket itself for the wrist strap because it's a tiny little thing and it's not that heavy. So next thing we pull out is, and this is fantastic, it really lets you know it's 2018. This is the charging cord for the Osmo Pocket, and also the data transfer cable for pulling your 4K 60 frames per second video off. It is, that's right, it's a USB-C cord. Next we have a couple of little attachments and quick start guides, one in English and one in Chinese. And you're actually going to at least go to the first little section there. We're pretty smart, and we had to, instead of going to the forums and being yelled at to read the manuals. So when you first set up your Osmo and turn it on, the first thing it's going to say is, hey, I'm not activated yet. So you simply plug in your phone, which we're going to show you here in just a second. But here it is. This is the Osmo Pocket. And one thing that's really cool about it is that is a machined aluminum 3-axis gimbal that's on there. So this is robust. This is a tough little thing that you're not going to hopefully damage if you're bouncing it around and stuff. But the coolest statistic of all about this is it weighs barely more than a D battery. It's right around the same weight as one D battery, slightly less than 2 decks of cards. And it's not much bigger around. It's about the same thickness around as a D battery, but it's so tiny. And look at that 3-axis gimbal that's up there. Like I said, shoots 4K up to 60 frames per second. I believe it's 24, 25, 30, 48, and 60. And the video that it records is at 100 megabits per second speed, which is the fast write speed that the Mavic Air has and that the Mavic Pro 2 has. The Mavic Pro original one has a slower write speed. So you're going to need a proper class 3 micro SD card for this. So we're going to take the little cover off here. And right here is we've got a sort of an accessory attachment. This little thing slides off. And you can see some contacts in here. And DJI ships with The Pocket ships with two little accessory attachments for your phone. One is a USB-C connector, and the other one is a Lightning connector. And that simply slides into the slot, and then it can slide into your phone like this. So if you wish, you can operate it with your phone. You can record using the app like that if you want, or you can use it to transfer files over to your phone if you like. So having plugged it in, it actually turned itself right on. It's going to power him off again. So this little connector flips around for storage and travel. So you just turn it like that and slide it back in. When it's in the case, it can be either pointing out or pointing in. Putting it in the case takes about 5 minutes to figure out, the same as a Mavic Air. Is it back legs first or front legs first? Tilt the gimbal to the left and just slide it into the larger part at the top. And you'll see here the lightning cable connector slips through a little hole, and then we've got a little fastener here that just pops through like that. You still have access to the SD slot, and at the bottom your USB-C slot. So that is the unboxing. That's all there is. Now this thing is absolutely phenomenal out of the get-go. Let's go over some of the features if you don't mind. So here's what we got in advance. Weighs 116 grams. It's the smallest 3-axis stabilized handheld gimbal. Super quick start. I don't know if you noticed that, but let's turn this on. Does its calibration, and boom. Aha, you can see the green screen. So I'll turn that back off again. It has a 1/2.3 inch 12 megapixel sensor, so 12 megapixel stills. Field of view is 80 degrees f2.0. 1.08 inch screen size. Shutter speed ranges from 8 seconds up to 1/8,000 seconds. For SD cards, and you're going to want to get a big one, the max size it takes is 256 gigabytes, and I highly recommend it. We put in, this is one we stole from an extra Mavic Air we've got lying around. This is a class 3 32 gig, and like lots of DJI devices, it doesn't go in this way. It goes in what we would consider upside down. And we just pop it in there with our thumbnail. Perfect. So putting in that 32 gig card at 1080p, it was telling me I had about 30 minutes of recording time. So if you want to maximize your recording time at 4K, you're going to want to get that 256 gig card. It does not ship with a micro SD card. What else do we have here? I already said it transmits, records at 100 megabits per second. Charging 0 to 90% in 1 hour. The remainder takes 30 more minutes, so it's 90 minutes for a full charge, and it lasts about 140 minutes when you're filming at 1080 30p. So there's intelligent functions built into this, as we would expect from all DJI products. So it's naturally, when you turn it on and put the gimbal towards you, it's automatically going to start looking for your face. This is a vlogging camera, and it's looking for your face, and it does a fantastic job of following you. It does have an active track feature, but we're warned in the literature that active track isn't as precise as what you might be used to in another device. In FPV mode, that lets you lock the gimbal, so you get the experience of the camera itself, which gives you some cool motion when you're recording. You actually capture the roll as it is actually happening in certain circumstances. It comes with motion lapse built in, it comes with time lapse built in. Night shot lets you shoot at 1/60th of a second or 2 or 3 second shots for low light settings, or you can actually do light painting if you want. Panorama, there are 2 panorama functions, 180 degree sweeping panorama or a 3x3. If you're using one of the drones, you'll be very familiar with DJI's 3x3 panorama. And a new feature that's part of the MIMO app, it's called Beauty. So it automatically adds filters and all sorts of things to your videos or your photos to just professional them up automatically. You don't have to think about it. And of course, it has HDR built in as well. So the user interface, this is a touch screen. It's only barely bigger than an inch. If I can fire it up here. There we go. So it is up, and we can swipe left to produce our saved videos. Swipe that direction and it accesses our mode. We have video or photo, our resolution. Swiping down from the top puts you into settings. You click on settings and you have 4 choices within there. Let you know your battery, you can calibrate, adjust the gimbal tilt, and set your automatic timer off setting. And up from the bottom, additional settings. One of them that's cool is you can put the gimbal into a tilt locked mode. We'll talk about that in a second. FPV, which I mentioned, or the basic follow, which is going to stay trained on you. So just amazing how fast this thing starts up and just turns right off. Absolutely amazing. So 3 modes in the app. The first is basic edit mode. So after you've shot your videos and your photos, you can edit them in the app. You can crop them, you can brighten them, darken them, all that stuff. In Pro mode, it's like going into the manual settings of the camera. You've got control over ISO, AE, and shutter, and other functions as well. And now there's a third mode that should be available about a month after this launches called Story Mode. And that's built for the all-in easy creators out there who want to use social media. It's got built-in templates with preset shooting patterns, automatic transitions and edits to make your videos look super professional. All you have to do is just throw your content in there and it's going to mishmash them up for you into an awesome output. So there are 9 accessories that are going to be available almost immediately for the Osmo Pocket. One of them ships with the Osmo Pocket, and that is the carrying case. Where'd it go? There it is. So we've seen the carrying case. The other 8 accessories are, first one is a waterproof case. So when I talked about gimbal lock, and you can put it in tilt mode, it's almost like a flashlight in a way. And there's a waterproof case that this goes right into with a big giant lens that lets you swim around in the ocean and capture incredible videos. It's waterproof to 60 meters, so that's absolutely fantastic. There is an extension rod that lets you get longer distance from the camera, and it has a joystick and control buttons to let you control the pan and tilt of the gimbal from the handle. In the bottom of that extension rod, there is also a built-in tripod, which is super handy, because what's missing on the Osmo Pocket is there is no tripod nut receiver or nut, and that we kind of wish that it had that, because we want to do some time lapses right away, and it's really not super steady on its own little base. The next accessory you can get is a controller wheel, and it's going to sit right over here. It slides on. And it is a wheel that lets you use your thumb to control pan and tilt of the camera. Wireless module, this is one of the first things we saw about the Osmo Pocket. It was an FCC filing a couple of weeks ago. And it basically attaches to the bottom. You can use it as a stabilizing base if you're going to do your hyperlapses. And it lets you connect your smartphone either by Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. The charging case is pretty cool, so it's a bigger version of this. It'll hold your SD cards, it'll hold your ND filters, and it holds a whole second additional charge for your Osmo Pocket. So once you've burnt up one, you put it in a special charging case, and it's going to reload the battery for you. 3.5mm adapter for your smartphone. So we've got connectors, but the 3.5mm jack is going to let you plug your headphones in, and you can actually be listening to playback. There's no external speaker on the Osmo Pocket, so you can listen to playback of your videos, or you can actually record using your mics. What else do we have? We've got the accessory mount. This might be one of the best features of the Osmo Pocket, because you're looking at it going, well, I thought it was going to be an action camera, or was it going to replace my GoPro? And no, it's not going to necessarily replace your GoPro, but it's doing things your GoPro can't. And it's not built for strapping this thing to a BMX bike and going down cliffs. That's, I don't think, what this is intended for. But there is an accessory mount for it that, if you're like me and you've got all of these things in drawers all over your house, you're going to be able to attach the accessory mount to your Osmo Pocket, and it's just like a belt that goes right around it. And then you can attach your connectors to it. You can put it on a chesty. Anything you can mount a GoPro to, you can mount your Osmo Pocket to. Next one we have is the ND filter set. So DJI will have a full ND filter set for this. Briefly, if you're not familiar with what an ND filter is, the most cinematic videos you will get come from filming at the best quality ISO, which is 100, and at a shutter speed that is 1/2 times your frame rate. So if you're going to shoot at 30 frames per second, you want to shoot at 1/60th shutter speed. Now, the lighting may not cooperate with you. It may be too bright or too dark if you're going to shoot at that speed. So using an ND filter, it actually controls the amount of light going into the camera, so you get that perfectly cinematic feel. It takes some time to get used to how which filters to use, under which conditions, but as soon as you start using them, you'll never go back to auto exposure, because with auto exposure, you're going to see this sliding across, constant changing of the exposure, which really just wrecks your videos. And we have already mentioned the case. So at the time of receiving this, the launch is tomorrow. We don't have pricing on this yet. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised when the price comes out. Like I said, get the 256 gigabyte card. I would strongly encourage you to get Osmo Shield. If it's anything like the drone coverage, so here we go. Accidental hardware damage, water damage, and free two-way shipping. So I think there's a high probability that people will be dropping these all over the place. And if you don't have Osmo Shield, like if this thing is $199, you're probably looking at $25 or $30 for Osmo Shield. It's the cheapest insurance you can get. So anyway, you'll see the links in the description below to DJI's site, Osmo Shield, and we'll also throw in our articles on ND filters. And just stay tuned. Make sure you like and subscribe, because we're heading to New York tomorrow. We're going to be doing hyperlapses and motion lapses in Times Square with this. And tomorrow we'll have our full report on everything that went down, including a ton of photos on all of the accessories that we saw there and all the people that were in the room for this great DJI event in New York. So YouTube, thank you so much for stopping by. Hit the like button, make sure you subscribe, ask us questions in the comments, and visit our site, dronereviewsandnews.com. And we're also on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. Our Mavic 2 Pro giveaway. See, you're glad you stuck around right till the end. We are giving away a Mavic 2 Pro on November 30th. Go to our website. There's still time to enter. Thanks, YouTube.